hottest podcast in the world. From WWE to TNA by way of the NWA. It's referee Brian Hebner, legendary WWE referee and Mr. Refin It Up himself, Jimmy Corderas, and OVW and TNA senior official Daniel Spencer. It's time for Refin It Up.
Welcome back to Refin It Up. I am RJ. I am joined by Brian, Jimmy, Daniel. Oh, there's Brian.
Hey, RJ, what's up? All right, boys, pop on in. We were going to rib you. We were going to say, just leave you on an island. Did you feel like you went on an island?
Yeah, well, I need Wilson to get off this island, I think. I don't know where the rest. There's nobody. There's just.
All right, come on in. Come in, guys. Come on.
No, hold on. Oh,
I got it figured out.
Yeah.
Well, you knew one part, but Daniel's out there in my favorite country attempting to referee, so he will not be here.
Oh,
and RJ, you can tell the folks where Mr. Jimmy Corderas is.
Mr. Corderas. We would have got this the first couple. We're going to do it now. Mr. Jimmy Corderas is receiving. Hold on, let me get back to my notes. I want to make sure I have it correctly. Is receiving, will be honored with the 2026 Charlie Smith Referee Award at the Cauliflower Alley Club 60 in Las Vegas this week. So, Jimmy, congratulations. We are extremely happy for you. I know you are out there with Donnie, and everybody's getting awards.
Oh, Donnie went with him.
Yeah, they did. I saw they did a huge pop out there. Yesterday.
Okay. Wow. So we don't have to worry about him invading the show either.
Well, they may be in the chat. I haven't seen him in the chat yet. I know we got Matt there. We got Steve in there. Wrestling Biggest Fan is in there. So they may pop in. Who knows? Well,
the one thing I don't have to worry about is that Earl Hebner doll being thrown in my face tonight because Daniel is not here.
He's here in spirit, I'm sure.
I got his spirit.
Yeah, I figured you did. So why don't we do this? Before we bring in, we have a very special guest this week. We have Mr. Kerry Morton coming in, joining the show in about a half hour. But until then, Brian, why don't we set it up to our first count right here on Revving It Up.
This is your one count.
As we talked about, very busy week in professional wrestling as always, but it usually happens every time we go off the air on Tuesday or Wednesday when the audio drops.
You know what? Something does always happen as soon as we're done.
It seriously does, because we saw Ilja Dragunov come out. There was news that came out that he is set to become the latest high-profile free agent on the market. Pretty much one of the hardest-hitting wrestlers on planet Earth. You can go back and see a lot of his work with Gunther, with Aleister Black, overseas in the UK. But, dude, this is he hasn't been on TV in a while. So I'm not completely surprised by it, but at the same time, how do you not have work for a guy like this?
I love the guy. I love the guy's work. I think that a hard-hitting smash mouth guy like him is just hard to come by anymore. And I think that I don't know what happened with WWE. I really don't know. I haven't heard. Obviously, it's above my pay grade. But I just know that the landing spot has to be crucial, and I'm not sure where the fit in is, to be honest with you. Watching what I've watched with him, I'm not sure AEW could be a good fit. I don't know. I'm not saying it's not.
Mhm.
I'm just not sure. I think a TNA might be a better landing spot as far as wrestling style. That's what I'm talking
Mhm.
about.
Mhm.
But hey, he's gonna find work. He's gonna definitely find work. Somebody that talented that's out there is gonna find work, and it's gonna be exciting to see where he goes, in my opinion.
No, Matt, no Earl Doll tonight. He's here in spirit.
No Earl Doll tonight. You got that right, brother.
Uh,
Only a baby Hebner doll. If you want to see that, let me know.
yeah, I don't think I don't got any referee. Anyways, but it was one of those things. A lot of people were, it automatically goes, hey, he's going to AEW. It's basically a signed deal. But like I said, I really think TNA, a lot of the talent, and I'm sure you might have still been there when, were you there when Trent Seven came over?
I'm not sure.
And anyway, that type of that type of wrestling where you get the British strong style that come over, I believe that was during pandemic time, I believe. But regardless,
Well, what's crazy to me though, RJ, don't you have to agree with this? Every talent that gets released or goes out of their contract with WWE, everyone just assumes they're going to AEW, and that's not the case anymore. And it does happen more than not, but it doesn't always literally mean because they left WWE they're going to automatically go to AEW. It doesn't mean that. But Tony Khan is very good. TK is very good at swooping all the talent that does leave WWE. So it wouldn't shock me, but I don't know. We'll
well,
see.
I get it. It's a business. I get it. But Dragunov here was last seen performing in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal this past year on SmackDown before WrestleMania 42. So it's been a while since you've been on, but you had I brought him up earlier too. Was Gunther Walter at that point, but you had that match right there in your hands, and you kind of just went, oh, fall through your hands on that one. But
Well, they
we'll
obviously
see.
had plans for him at some point. So I mean,
Yeah.
you don't just win that battle royal to not be thought about as a future somewhere in their loaded roster. You know what I mean?
We got I think Brian has an in on that, I believe, with the Major Brothers there.
Oh, okay, okay. The
Because I
blue
know
shirt.
yeah, the blue shirt. Hey, you get the blue shirt and oh yeah, that's what you're known for though. You get a 2-pack. You get the blue shirt, you, Jimmy, and in the black and white.
Yeah, like that.
But it has to, I have one requirement though. If they
Okay.
ever do make an action figure, or I should say when they make an action figure of you, you have to do the frosted tips.
Well,
That's it. That's
this one's got it, RJ.
oh, it does. Okay, there you go. Okay. And yeah, well, yeah, and the wristband, you got to do that.
It's got the wristband, of course.
Of course, you got to.
Yeah.
But we also had we talked, off air about TNA. One of the best pay-per-views. You tweeted it out. I can't remember the day, whether it was Sunday or yesterday, but one of the best pay-per-views they've done this year. TNA Lockdown from Chicago. And then for those of you that don't know what a Lockdown pay-per-view is, this is a pay-per-view that they did, I believe they said about 10 years ago. And pretty much at every match that they had on the card outside of obviously the pre-show was inside a steel cage. And Brian, this steel cage was completely different from every other steel cage that you're seeing between AEW, WWE, NXT, New Japan, MLW. I like the look of this.
I loved it. I love the look of it. I love the entire pay-per-view. And the main thing that makes me like a pay-per-view is the flow. And the flow of that pay-per-view was just unbelievable. No downtime, quick transitions. It was just really well done. I thought it was really well produced. I thought everybody worked extremely hard. Like they were trying to prove something. You could tell. Not only just the talent, but the referees, the crew, production people. It was just a solid pay-per-view. The one thing, the one thing that I argued when I was there, when I was in these production meetings, were Lockdown should be, to me, and I'm sure I'll get all kinds of feedback if it wasn't for Jimmy and Daniel not being here. So maybe RJ, I guess that's your role, I guess, if you want to.
Mm,
But I always thought that I know it makes it different, but Lockdown being in every match of Steel Cage. But see, by then you're kind of wore out by the main event.
mm-hmm.
I always thought that you should have 2 lockdown matches. The rest of it be your regular type matches until the anticipation gets to where the cage comes down. And now here we go. And I fault that. And that's the way we did it because one year they wanted to do it because it was just probably cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
manual, less labor to keep it down. You know what I mean? And that the thought process of for me is just that I want to build to the cage, to the lockdown. You know what I mean? I want to build to that. And if you do every match, don't get me wrong, the pay-per-view did not suffer from not doing it the way I like it. I'm just saying I think it could have been even more special. Because they if you go back and look at all the highlights, they did different sorts of all kinds of combinations off this cage. You know what I mean? Different, which was really cool. So everything didn't look the same. But I'm just saying, I think that it would look really, really cool and appear really cool to have these banger matches all through the show, which they could have done without or with the cage. If you go down a list and look at these matches, to have 2, maybe 3, I don't know. It depends on how you build to the show. And then you have that because I've always loved when they put the lights on the cage and you say
Yeah.
now here we go with the do. The thing comes down, and I think you lead that show from the beginning to that point. And that's the only thing I think misses right there.
Yeah, that's kind of something like what they do with the Hell in the Cell when they do it in WWE. They kind of do the
You see
ominous.
that? Booker Bryan is back. You
Who's
got that
that?
right, Matt Green.
And for those of you that are in our studio audience here on YouTube and Twitch, make sure you give that video a thumbs up, share it across all the social medias and with all your friends too. And for those of you that are listening on our audio version on Wednesday or in future, join us every Tuesday at 6 p.m. with watch us live each and every week. I lost my train of thought.
We were talking about the cage being lowered.
Oh yeah, it was very similar to like when they do the Hell in the Cell, where they do the ominous music and all that stuff, the spotlights and that jazz. Something that similar to you're talking something similar to like what they do with Elimination Chamber. They have 2 Elimination Chamber matches, one for the men, one for the women. But then again, obviously you're dealing with a wholly different production aspect of it, where TNA, they don't have the production capabilities of WWE. But I get what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like I kind of dug it. Having a cage there all the time. Trying to explain it to Gavin watching. He watched the whole pay-per-view with me, and he's like, "Why is everything in a cage?" I'm like, "That's the whole point of the pay-per-view."
It just feels like it's not as important though to me when you get to the main event.
Yeah.
Listen, it did not hurt the show, the value of it. It didn't. I'm just saying, how much better would it feel to get to, let's just say, the Hardys and the Nimbus?
Mm-hmm.
When now that thing, you just watched hour and a half of great matches, and then now it comes down. And now you're like, oh, shit.
Now
Here we go.
Yeah.
That's all.
So one critique I wanted to get your thoughts on, and it's just a critique. It is what it is. I get it. But I'm looking at the card here, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, pretty much 4 out of the last 4 matches had blood in it. Whether they were gimmicked, whether they were the hard way, whatever the case may be. Obviously, everything being in the steel cage, I get it. Do you have the issue with it as either as a fan, as a past referee, having that much blood? And obviously, we've talked about it with AEW before. Hey, every time Moxley's in the ring, he bleeds, or this person or that person. Do you see that as an issue, or is it just, hey, it's Lockdown, baby?
I mean, I see it as Lockdown, but then I also see it the same way I visualize the cage being up the whole time, because you got to do something at some point to make something different. And yes, I do see a problem. That's why I see a problem with the cage up all night. And again, I'm reiterating here, I put it out on social medias. I think it's going to be a top 5 pay-per-view for the year. I really do. But it doesn't say that you can't make things better. I think
Right.
you get less blood and less cage, and you have the same show at a more higher level. So yes, RJ, I agree with you. I think there was a bit too much blood, but again, it didn't hurt the show. It made it feel less later, just like the cage did.
Yeah.
But it could be done if it was done differently without a cage up all night long.
Well, and Matt here in the chat, Matt Green says too much doesn't make it or doesn't make it special. Yeah, I get it, but at the same time, it's like if you don't do it, people are saying, "Oh, well, you're in a steel cage. His head just hit, or her head hit the cage. Why isn't she bleeding? Why isn't he bleeding? Hell, it should make it real."
Right.
Let's pump the brakes here a little bit, and let's see it as on the whole as a pay-per-view. And like you said, it was probably one of the top 5s of the year so far. Before we move on, I want to get your thoughts on somebody that we've talked about here on the show. We've talked about his family on the shows. Avery Styles is officially signed to TNA. This is a kid that you probably have known since he was little, son of AJ Styles. He's got something special.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that now that he's signed with TNA, he's probably going to have to get to the arenas early and start setting up the ring. Put some chairs up, things like that. Man, get the fuck out of here.
Hand out flyers.
Yeah. I think it's great for TNA, and I think it's great for Avery, because basically he gets to grow with a growing company. And I know that sounds crazy with the amount of years that TNA's been out, but let's face it, they're still a growing company. They're trying to get to where they need to be. I think Avery is going to really be in a good place to craft his skills, get really good. And as long as TNA can hold on to him and make him special because he is AJ's son, I think that's going to be great. And that's why I can't wait to talk to Kerry tonight, because in the same situation, the Hall of Fame, his dad is a Hall of Famer from the from the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton. I mean, so many questions I have for him, and hopefully the people in the chat will have some questions for him as well. But it's wild, man, because then how long can you go to where you don't lean on your dad's name? Because remember, when he came out, he used his dad's logo, the gimmick behind him, and
he did at this pay-per-view. He did at this pay-per-view too, but it said Avery on it.
Right, but I'm saying that's being piggybacked. That's piggybacking, and that's okay. It's okay. Believe me, I piggyback off my dad, I'm sure, from the beginning. But I also wanted him to get off my back at one point too. So we'll see.
That's a given. So why don't we do this? We got about 10 minutes until we bring in. Excuse me, I was going to say Avery, but we're not bringing in Avery. You're bringing in Kerry Morton in about 10 minutes. So why don't we do this? Why don't we set it up to our Refin review right here on Refin It Up.
This is Refin Review.
So we were just talking about the pay-per-view lockdown, Brian, being every match being inside of a steel cage. And this is something that you've done previous to this incarnate when you were there the first time, and maybe even the second time, but I'll leave that up to you. 6 sides ring, 6 sides of steel, all that stuff. Obviously, with Daniel not being here, we can't get his thoughts on it. But with your thoughts from the past,
Matt Green just said he misses the button. I don't miss it this week, Matt, because I don't have to hit it. I don't have to see him the whole damn time.
Wait, hold on. Wait, this button? Hey, it's my show. I'm just kidding.
Really?
Yeah, they gave me access. You remember you gave me access to that button.
Oh, brother. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there you go. There's the button. Anyways, I digress. Differences of refereeing a regular pay-per-view or regular TV compared to you're walking into a pay-per-view that it's all in a cage.
It's totally different. I mean, because there are restrictions. You don't have the outside to deal with. It's all done in the 20 by 20, and that's just the way it goes. It doesn't make it really harder for a referee, But when you get into a lockdown match like I used to do, you get all those guys in the ring and there's nowhere to go. Like there's nowhere to go. And that the most I think running from your life and getting out of the way is the worst part of that match than it is actually refereeing the match, because I mean really they're doing anything they want. It makes it very different. It does. It makes it very different because you're like I said, your limitations to use other stuff, props, they're all gone because you have a cage that's keeping you in there. Unless you want to climb out, but then guess what? You got to climb back in. So it's always felt special to me, like I said. And I think Daniel and Jimmy would agree with this. And maybe we'll ask them next week.
Yeah.
But when you have regular matches that lead up and you finally get to that cage part and you're a referee, it feels special. You know what I mean? It feels intimidating. When you've done two of them all night long, I mean, it's just, it is what it is. But as far as being a referee goes, it just restricts what you can do, where you can go, and you got to be head on a swivel, watching out for everything, because it's just no room.
Well, and we even see you got a lot of the what did they call it? I gotta get a look back here in my notes in a lethal lockdown. That's a whole different. We saw that with the system and let's see, Ricky Sosa, Fabian Archer, Casey Navarro, and Jada Stone. That's a whole different ball of wax with that. And then I'm pretty sure
that's got a top.
Right. And that's where the top comes down after all the participants.
Everyone's in. Yep.
So, and then even when Gavin was watching it with me, he's like, "Hey, why is it coming?" It's like Dusty Rhodes, the 2 rings.
Oh yeah, War Games.
It's like a War Games. And I said, yeah, it's like that, but it's got a kind of a TNA little twist on it.
Yeah, I mean it does. It could just all get, I don't know. I'll never forget. It was me and Eric Bischoff sitting in that meeting, and they tried to shut me down when I was bringing up the part about the every cage in a match doesn't feel special, and they were trying to shut me down. And Bischoff actually stood up for me. He goes, "No, everybody, let the kid talk. Let him talk." And so I voiced my opinion. Bruce Pritchard, was so angry at me for bringing this up because they had all the bolts and nuts tightened. It was ready to roll.
Yeah.
And I threw a wrench in it, and I didn't mean to, but I was just trying to help the product and pissed some people off and made some people really happy and made sense of what I was saying. So there's different views and points of this thing, but I don't know. We'll put it out there and let's see what the listeners feel like, what they think. I don't know.
Yeah, see, let us know in the chat too, here live. But one thing I also saw too, and this kind of goes along the lines of refereeing, getting help from commentary, and Tom and Matthew Raywalt, Tom Hannafin and Matthew Raywalt did a hell of a job explaining, because during the lethal lockdown match, and B, during some of these matches where, hey, you can only win if it was by an escape or a pinfall or a submission. Very similar to the Hotch match and Ali match for the, I believe it's the international title, where it was pinfall or submission. If I stand corrected, I may be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat if you watch the pay-per-view. But it's different. That's where the commentary, and we've talked about it before with other companies, where the commentary sometimes buries the referee because they don't know what's going on.
I mean, yes, that's why that's so important, because it explains to people that don't know what's going on how this thing works. Because again, and I'm sorry to keep, because every match looks the same. So you have to let people know that, yeah, it's in a cage, but there's different rules for this match. And they did a great job at covering that. I mean, a great job explaining to people at home that didn't know what stipulations were in the cage. So someone put down the best announced team currently. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm not quite sure I'm going to say that yet.
That being Tom Hannafin and Matthew Raywalt.
That's correct.
Yeah,
they're very solid. I don't know how Tom got away from WWE, really.
I don't know, man. It helps you. And that you see that a lot of the time, whether it be, and I'll mention it here before, we got Kerry in our waiting room, so we're going to bring him in shortly. After I make this last comment, you got announced teams like with the NWA with Joe Galley, Tim Storm, where though they work so well off each other.
Mm-hmm.
Tim's been in the business for years. Joe's knows the business like the back of his hand. And then you got Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and everybody else up top with the WWE. But a lot of the times, man, it's detriment sometimes to the referee and the talent in the ring.
Have you had a chance to listen to Booker and?
Yes, his Phil Gilmore.
That's his name.
His first name. I think it's his last name.
Anyway, on the WWE. Yeah. Wow, that.
Oh no, you're talking the announcing, not his podcast.
No, the announcer.
Oh, he's a kid from he's Mackenzie's husband. Crap. The ring announcer for TNA. Her husband is. Oh, it's gonna kill me now. I don't know his name.
You have your Google machine. Google it.
Oh crap! Because he does NXT, right?
Well, yes. If you don't have a chance to watch something wrestling that you like, that they actually put out there in their live feed on the WWE network.
Vic Joseph.
Vic Joseph. That's it.
I apologize. I'm sure he's listening.
Thanks, Matt Black. You're right, sir. But that is really solid, man. That's really solid. I really enjoyed it. I was going somewhere. I couldn't stay and watch. I had to get in the car and go. I put it on my XM, Sirius XM, and it was really good. Really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's even Gavin's starting to see it a little bit more. He's like, hey, let's listen to wrestling. I said, okay, let's try it.
Turn the volume down. Too. I used to do that with the Commander games when they were the Redskins. I used to cut the volume off the TV and just listen to the Joe Theismann and Rigo and Brian Mitchell, and I loved it. I loved it because you're getting that insight that the TV's not going to give you. It's really good.
You gotta make sure you put because one's faster than the other, so you gotta have to pause your TV now. Before it's like, okay, you couldn't do that before when you didn't have whatever the heck they call it now, TiVo or DVR or whatever. But we're rambling at this point. But guys, why don't we do this? We'll take a break. We'll come in our second count with our special guest, Mr. Kerry Morton, right here on Refin It Up.
This is your 2 count.
Without further ado, he is the man. He is Mr. JCW. He is the very talented Mr. Kerry Morton. Kerry, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me. It's been a heck of a day, to say the least. Been a crazy travel day, but I'm here and happy to be here.
Hey, Kerry, what's up, buddy? I'm so glad that you joined the show, man. It was nice talking to you the other day, and here we are. We are live, and we're ready to do this.
We are live. I love that. I'm happy to be live. There's never been a problem that I saw that I couldn't make worse. So getting live is just going to be just that. I'm excited for it.
Okay. Now, wait, before we get going, I want to hear about something about this travel day. Explain to me what you got going on. I love to hear stories. Since I'm retired, I don't have to travel anymore. So it's like funny to me now.
Well, it's, I like to say most of the time that I don't get paid to wrestle. Seriously, wrestling to me is the fun part. Everything that comes along with wrestling is what's work. Yes. Seriously, when I'm in the ring, that's where I want to be. I'm happy to be there in my comfort zone. But coming up with the travel and going back and forth, and whether it be connecting flights, I live in a smaller airport, so I'm connecting a lot of the time. On top of that, getting to the building early, trying to get a lift in, the whole 9 yards, everything in between it. I can go on and on. But today I was way out on kind of near, still in East Tennessee, kind of near Knoxville, roughly 2 hours away. So coming back and whatnot, and just stuck in traffic, the whole 9 yards. Nothing, not looking for sympathy. It's just part of the game. So been a heck of a day.
Kerry, I always tell people always go, do you miss, doing it? And I'm like, no. If you could transplant me no, I'm not using Canada. Fuck that.
No.
If you could right? If you could transplant me to the place that we're working and just boom, I'm there. And then when I'm done, transplant me back to my home. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it for 100 more years.
Yes.
I'll do it
So
for 100 more years.
relatable. So
But
relatable,
it's
Brian.
Yep, it's just the travel, the flying, the rental cars, the hotels, the trying to figure out this, trying to figure out that, food, all that. And when you stop doing it, don't stop doing it, Gary. By the way, you got a big future ahead of you. But it's just when you get to actually sit at home and actually grasp all that you have done and to give up to do it, it's like, holy fuck, man.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. I was trying to explain this to someone that's one of my friends that's not in the wrestling business and kind of gets a grasp from it from a distance. And he was like, "Dude, all I see you doing all the time is traveling." And I was like, "Yeah, man, that's the part of the job." I was like, "My job is not to get in the ring and wrestle. I mean, it is. You're wrong. It is. It's what I'm getting paid to get. Travel and do there and whatnot. But it comes along with everything else, and that's what makes this business. I see a lot of talented cats in today's game. They get that year and a half mark, and that travel,
Yeah.
they just can't deal with it. It's just something that a lot of people can't put up with. And so I see time and time again a lot of talented professional wrestlers not being able to overcome that.
Now,
It's
how
the
old are
biggest
you, Gary?
obstacle. I'm 25.
Oh my God, you're a spring
Oh.
chicken. And you're already bitching about traveling? No, I'm just kidding.
No. Listen, I honestly, I do with gratitude. I don't really bitch about travel. I had some hell travel to say the least, but nothing that I can't handle. I'd like to say now I am considered a professional traveler.
Times are different too, Gary. Times are very different. I mean,
It's so much different, and I'm
I
just
mean-
even from where you broke in and whatnot, and even going back, I was talking to my dad recently, and I was like, today we have a travel agent and whatnot. We have someone that's willing to look at our flights and book our flights for us. So it's majority of the time my issue is super simple. I just gotta get to the airport, get on the flight, and make sure I don't miss my connecting or whatnot. So outside of that, I don't have much bad, but there's often times it comes and you're like, wow, I just, for instance, I came from the Gathering of the Juggalos this week. So we had Gathering of the Juggalos, and then on top of that, I went straight from the Gathering, which is a whirlwind of a situation, all the way to Tampa, Florida. So from the Ozarks in Missouri to Tampa, Florida for NWA Power. So eventful week. Got home, late Sunday, and then back on the road early today for something, a little project I had to film.
You're muted, Brian.
No, I know. I thought you were going to say something. I was trying to give you the floor. If you don't want it, I got it. That's cool. The biggest problem that my dad and your dad had when they were traveling, don't you?
Yeah, please tell me.
It was who was going to buy the beer and who was going to get the 5-gallon bucket. I mean, they didn't have delays like we used to have, like we had, or especially you now.
No.
I mean, these airports and flying is a joke.
Most certainly. Yeah. I've gotten used to it now, but you're right. You're absolutely right. I feel for a lot of the cats that's in our game. And like I said, I'm going back to what I just mentioned earlier. That's why I see a lot of these guys in our business that break in and start to get a good push and start to get traveled and booked by independent promoters and flying them out the whole 9 yards. And they can't deal with the stress of traveling and being able to perform when you're getting late to a show and still having a good match and, not being able to think on top of their to think in the heat of the moment. Seriously, a lot of these guys are drugged out, not drugged out, bad verbiage, excuse me. A lot of these guys are tired out, I should say. Let me rephrase this. Not drugged out. That's really bad.
Or drugged out.
I meant drugged out as in like just tired and rugged and ragged down, not participating in any sort of drugs or whatnot. So anyhow, let me rephrase that.
We'll add that in post.
Yeah.
We don't have post power live.
Well, we do for audio. But for those of you that are watching, that are listening right now, Kerry is the son of one half of, I'll say it, one of the greatest tag teams of all time, the Rock and Roll Express, Mr. Ricky Morton. Kerry, we saw over with TNA, Brian and I talked about it before we brought you in. We saw that Avery Styles, son of AJ Styles, signed to TNA. Brian is the son of a referee that's been in the, years in the business. Man, we see it all the time where you see a lot of these second, third generational talent guys, gals come in the business. You trials and tribulations, man. How did you adjust to that? And honestly, man, and I believe your grandfather was even in the business as well.
Yeah, most certainly. That's a really good question you're getting to, and I don't want to interrupt you.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
First of many, I want to congratulate Avery Styles for signing a TNA contract. I'm happy for him.
Are you guys friends at all? Do you talk, work together?
I don't know him personally.
Okay.
I would like to. I'm from based off my knowledge and just talking with some promoters that have booked him. He's been nothing but great to work with. And,
well, he doesn't put a ring together, right? And he doesn't set up chairs.
Doesn't set up chairs. Doesn't do any of that bullshit. Bless his heart.
Right.
No, I want to say genuinely, I'm happy for him. Really, I am. But here is something I had to learn very quickly in professional wrestling, and especially in there's a lot of generational talent out there that want to follow in the footsteps of their father and their dad that was once in this business. Something I took on really quickly is I cannot be my daddy. That's something I had to immediately grasp. What my dad did for this business is I'm very fortunate. He I would like to say laid down. He ran for a lot of these wrestlers could walk. And I openly admit that. And I'm not saying that and being biased. I'm saying that because I genuinely think it's the truth when it comes to what he had offered for the professional wrestling industry. Now let me chime in. AJ Styles is, in my opinion, maybe one of the greatest of all time in modern day professional wrestling. Amazing talent. Absolutely, does not have a bad match. I don't think there's one that exists out there. So I'm chiming in. I'm saying this. I'm excited for Avery in his career. However, signing a contract like that on a big platform with 10 matches underneath your belt, you got some big shoes to fill, and you got to go at it with a different approach. From who am I to say what he's going to do? Who am I to tell him what to do? I just advise him that he should take a step back, take his phone, put it aside, go on a journey, go on a walk, and ask himself why he's doing this business outside of wanting to please his father or whatnot. And then maybe he comes back with an answer and brings that to his on-screen personality. All
right. Well, since you said that, I don't think your answer would be this. So we'll see. Because I'm very curious and me and you could go back and forth with this because it's a pretty cool conversation, really. What's the biggest challenge you think you've had being the son of a Hall of Famer and dad, Ricky Morton? And what positives have you had as well? So in other words, what are the negatives of being Ricky Morton's son? And then what are the positives of it? I'll lay it like that. And it doesn't matter what aspect you want to do it as.
Sure. Brian, I think it's obviously there's pressure that comes with, I hear it tossed around a lot, not only from the fans, but from the boys' perspective, from a lot of peers that I looked up to growing up, coming to me and telling me, hey, man, your father was one of the best to ever do it. So when you hear that from your heroes, you think differently. You have a different perspective and a different outlook. And not only that, along with many guys I got to train with, I trained with Flair leading into his last match. And the whole 4 days I spent with him leading into his last match, he kept on telling me just examples of what your dad would do and how he put stuff over and how he put stuff in perspective. So another one of my heroes, when it comes to who I admire inside the professional wrestling ring. So hearing that, obviously, I know that I have some big shoes to fill. Secondly, it comes with just the how are you going to be looked at perception. Am I always going to be looked at as Ricky's boy, or am I going to look at as Kerry Morton? I'm proud of my last name. I'll never deny my last name.
Couldn't have said that any better. I'm going to go back to that. Go ahead.
No, I'm proud of my last name. Very proud of it, and I'll carry it. God willing, as long as I can, but with that comes with who am I? Am I Ricky's boy or am I Kerry Morton? And I like to stay, on this podcast and state in front of both of you that I'm Kerry freaking Morton. I'd say something else on other terms. I'm Kerry freaking Morton. That's who I am. I am. I'll walk the walk and I'll talk the talk, and I'm not afraid to do it. I'm not afraid to stand up for oneself. And with the positives, there's there's so much, with the fans' perspective of already having that ingrown fan base, being accepting and allowing me to step into the professional wrestling industry alongside with, the respect. Usually the respect you come in the locker room. A lot of guys respect the heritage and who my father was. So it wasn't something that, I don't take it lightly or for granted, but respect came along that way. And I treat people the way they treat me, Brian. And so that's been a great thing too. And then there's so many other things, people form opinions and people will judge you based off maybe something that your dad chose to do or your family did or anything of that nature. So there's so many different outlooks and perspectives I can put into it. But mostly at the end of the day, I am, I am proud to be a third generation professional wrestler. I am proud to carry on the family business, but maybe not in the way that many would imagine.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I want to ask you this too, and tell me this doesn't make sense, especially for you. So I remember, and it's not about me, but I wanted to compare and see if you felt that way. I remember someone asking me the exact same question I asked you, maybe paraphrased a little differently. And it was the positive of my dad being Earl Hebner was I had a better chance to get into the business than a lot of people. So my chances of getting in were really good. But it was when I got in.
Damn
So
right.
when I got in, that's when my dad had to really be like, and myself had to be like, well, I'm here now. I better fucking show up or shit out something. You know
Damn
what I
right.
mean?
Damn right.
And I did, and I'm proud of that. And what you said, RJ will attest to this. I didn't want to be Earl Hebner's son. I was done with that. I wanted to be Brian Hebner,
Yes, sir.
and I finally got there, man. Like, and it was the best feeling ever. I'm not saying I was never referred to as Brian Hebner being Earl's dad. I mean, I'm son. But what I'm saying is that tag was used very seldomly because of my work, my hard work that I put in, the respect I got from the boys, from the fans. And this has got to be something you got to feel because
Yes.
no one will understand me and you unless they're in those positions where you want to be you. Yeah, you want your dad, you love your dad, but you still want to be your own individuality.
Yes.
And I was at the beginning of my career, it was always everywhere we went. It wasn't this is Brian Hebner, it was that's Earl's son. That's Earl's son. They didn't even know my fucking name. You know what I mean? That's Earl's son. And it was just like, and every time it built up, I was like, I'm gonna not make this be Earl's son anymore. I'm gonna do that. And I finally did. And when I got there, my dad never booked me on the same shows. When I was in WWE, he put me on SmackDown. He put himself on Raw. I was so pissed. And I said, why would you do that? And he said, because I don't want anybody to say that you had a reason, an excuse, or nothing else. He said, you're going to work your ass off and earn what you got. If it ain't good enough, it ain't going to be my fault. If it's really good, it'll be my fault. I was like, oh, you're such a dick. Like, so, but no, so you can relate to that, correct?
I can absolutely relate. It's spot on. Is the introduction of this is Ricky's boy, not Kerry. And it happens, and it's not something I'm zealous about or anything of that. It's the way things are. But I would like to say, this is year 6 for me full time. Being a full time professional wrestler. Being able to pay my mortgage and pay my bills and whatnot off professional wrestling, which is a blessing. But I would like to say after 6 years of nonstop, and on top of the other, 19 years of my life in professional wrestling, but being able to say, hey, I stand at the table as Kerry Morton, and not just Ricky's boy anymore. And which is, but I'm not ashamed of that at all. It's just something, it's part of the road. It's something I had to realize that I'm going to have to take it on the chin and keep moving. And now a lot of the guys, call me, a lot of these legends that I share the ring with, they usually want to book me on their shows and work me because they know that they're going to be in good arms and safe and whatnot. And they know I'll take their stuff and I'll, God willing, make them look better than what they already look. And, I try to do my job really well. And that comes with, the ups and downs and the obstacles of being that generational talent.
Brian has said this a lot of the times. Jimmy said it. Daniel may have too as well. I'm not 100% sure, but they had that, hey, welcome to the business kind of moment. Whether it's working with, especially with Brian, whether it's working with The Undertaker, whether it's working with JBL, Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle, everybody knows the list. Have you had that? You said 6 years. Sometimes it takes 6 years. Sometimes it doesn't. Have you had that moment yet? Whether it be NWA, whether it be on the indies, whether it be with JCW, say, hey, this is my welcome to business moment.
RJ, absolutely. There's a particular moment that stands out, and I was thinking about this recently. I was the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. I had wrestled, and I had gone, quite frankly, I won the belt, and my inbox even got more full than what it already was. And I was traveling all over the country, quite frankly, all over the world, Canada, Australia. I'd gone all over the world. But then Brett Lauderdale from Game Changer Wrestling wanted me to come to Atlantic City. And I drove to Atlantic City, and I had wrestled Jimmy Lloyd. And I remember this particular moment. And why I say this is at the time, this was the biggest sold pay-per-view for Game Changer Wrestling has had. At Atlantic City, it was New Year's Eve bash. They had like a bowl cup the next day. I'd wrestled a few spot shows here and there for them, but now I'm coming in as a champion from another company, and that's something they don't do often. So Brett, opened the doors for me as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion to come in through his territory. Why I say this: we're in Atlantic City, New Jersey, okay, and tickets have sold out in the ballroom. So that there's give or take there's 750 plus people.
And where was this at, Kerry?
It's Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Okay, got you.
Atlantic City. And I'm 22 roughly at this time. Maybe I'm not even 22. I'm 21 maybe at this time, even at that. And I come in, the World Junior Heavyweight Champion. And they play Jimmy Lloyd's music. And he goes out to the ring. And we haven't called. We called a match, maybe me kind of being the good guy, quote unquote, the baby face coming into the scenario. And then I went outside that curtain. And they did not like the outsider, especially with the belt coming in. It had the hot pink tights on, the pretty boy, looking good. You're kind of putting the comparison all together. You're wrestling Jimmy Lloyd, familiar, and you're putting pretty boy, generational talent, the world champion of this promotion coming into the show. And I remember going out to the ring, and my music's playing, and I'm walking around, and I'm taking it all in, and these fans just could not and would not accept me, and that's okay. And I got in that ring, and I had learned just enough to be. I had learned plenty at this time, but very comfortable in my skin, and however, in calling a match. And they're booing and just yelling and throwing shit. It was unbelievable, really cool.
Wow.
And I had not even opened my mouth yet. I just kind of looked around everyone. I slowly took off the jacket, and I looked at Jimmy Lloyd. And I said, I'm calling an audible in the ring. And I called the match completely like what we already talked about. And this is the biggest pay-per-view at the time that GCW sold. So it's huge. It's a big deal. All the boys are hyped. All the guys have new gear. It's going to the new year. And from that moment right there, things change. You have that moment, that epiphany in professional wrestling. You're like, oh, this is how this works. That's what came to me. That's what came to fruition right there. I was like, this is what I have to do in order to step out of the shadows of my dad. And right then I turned it up. Immediately came in as the face and left as the most hated guy in Game Changer Wrestling. They hated me. It was great. Like a natural heat, something doesn't occur often, especially in today's age professional wrestling. And then it just, that was kind of the point for me. And it's only gone up since then.
Wow. So Kerry, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna head to our third count. We're gonna let you put yourself over. We're gonna let you get your plugs in. We want to let you put NWA over. You got to get your shit in, kid. You know how it works.
Oh man.
But we'll do all that when we come back in our third count. We normally get rid of our guests right now, but I don't want to get rid of our guests right now. I want to come back in our third count, finish the show with you, man. If that's cool with you.
Sounds great.
Awesome. So right now, guys, let's set it up to our third count right here on Refin It Up.
This is your 3 count.
All right, we're back here on Refin It Up with a very special guest, Mr. Kerry Morton. Man, this is I love seeing your stuff. You know, I got introduced to you with the NWA, and when you came in there with the company, the work you did there was top notch. And like the title of this episode says, you're on the express in the express lane to the top, and that's definitely for sure. But talk about your stuff real quick about with JCW, with Juggalo Championship Wrestling. It's a kind of a new thing there, with, I believe, Vince Russo is involved with it as well. How'd you get involved with that?
Man, JCW.
Gary, before you start, I have to ask this before you
Please.
get started. Gary, let me ask you one question before you get started. I love Vince Russo. I'm a Vince Russo guy. Before you get into the whole thing, how do you like working with that guy, bro?
Bro, let me tell you, bro. Kerry Morton, bro. Let me get on to you, bro. Listen here, bro. Listen, I got this great idea, all right? All right? Okay, are you listening to me, all right? Listen,
Fantastic.
I love giving Russo hell. It's awesome. I have, seriously, I've had a great time working with Vince. I mean, he's been, seriously, I have, right, my first impressions of him. It's one of those things in wrestling. I always introduce myself to the boys. I was kind of late to the tapings or whatever, and it's his first time coming into JCW, and I've been kind of an established character on the show for a while, and I didn't actually thoroughly meet him. And we have this, he wrote this show, and he's just started writing the show out for JCW at this time. And we have this segment together. He wrote a promo, and he's like, Kerry Morton will come in and introduce himself. So mind you, prior to this, I had not met Vince Russo, thoroughly. And so it's like, hey man, you ready to film? I was like, yeah, I'm ready to film. Let's go. And the cameraman's there, and we come in, and it makes the cut for the first thing. And I just came in there, and and there's a promo. Maybe I can go back and maybe I can tell you a little bit more about it. But I went in there, and I was like, I'm Kerry, effing Morton, and I'm here. I am who I say I am, and all this jazz. And I looked at Vince Russo and I said, and you're not gonna like me, and that's a good thing. And I ended it however it was, and it caught a lot of attention. It kind of sparked up, especially when Russo came in, and everything bounced up, and from right there, we just took a liking to each other. And he's been nothing but cool with me. He reaches out to me. He's gave me a few calls in the past week, and a cool guy to say the least. I'm happy to be working with him. I'm happy for the relationship that NWA allows me to go to JCW and do this partnership together. So I started day one of JCW Lunacy, and we're airing up and creeping up on our 100 episodes. So I helped create the logo and the whole 9 yards that comes along with JCW Lunacy. So kind of the mastermind of Violent J, and then I was kind of the backhand that made things become a reality when it came to the logo and putting some stuff together. There was a huge big team, but at the end of the day, it was I was there from day one, and happy to be a part of it still, reaching up on 100 episodes. So that's been great.
So let's talk about NWA here for a minute. Big Billy Corgan fan. I don't know if you know this, but he inducted my dad to the Hall of Fame for TNA. I went to a concert a couple years ago, and of course he accommodated me. It was the most amazing time I've ever had in my life. I am a huge Billy fan. Billy was a huge Brian Hebner fan until I had to leave. But he's not mad at me because I've talked to him backstage, but I can tell he's got a little bit of bitterness to me, but I still love him, and I hope he knows that it's business. It's not anything against him.
Sure.
But anyway, let's talk about how we can watch NWA. Let's talk about anything you want to talk about NWA. Because I read on the internet, because it's got to be true, right? That on this comment, right, on Charlo Comment,
Yeah.
that you guys drew some huge numbers about a month ago.
This past Saturday, I was in the main event, myself versus Silas Mason for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Excuse me. Had the biggest ratings up to date for Comet TV. Company to the ring was my father, Ricky Morton. The special guest referee was Alex Taylor. We were formerly known as the Southern Six. That was Silas Mason, Alex Taylor, Kerry Morton. That was the Southern Six. We were the #1 merchandise sellers in the NWA history. Little quick fact there. So really, little cheap plug. We came to fruition. So this is Kerry Morton, the guy speaking, not Kerry Morton, the guy you see on the television screen. But really humbling to say that. We worked our asses off. We put a lot of effort into this. We put a lot of promotional work into it. making this become a reality. So, to say that we're the biggest rated show right on Comment for professional wrestling that's aired since NWA Power aired on Comment TV, it's a blessing. Seriously, it's something you kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. Not saying that the tunnel's dark or dim or anything like that, but you see lights. You see something that you work your ass off for, and you bust your ass, and you see people on the internet speak their opinions, and you don't chime in, and you kind of keep to yourself, and you keep your head down, and you keep swimming above water just enough, and seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. The rating number was really high, competing with other professional wrestling companies. So, and I go on to say this, NWA, we are, it is self-funded by Billy Corgan, the lead man of the Smashing Pumpkins. So it's tough when you're competing with, and I wouldn't say competing with the WWE or AEW or TNA or MLW. I'm not saying competing, but I'm saying you're kind of in that bubble when you're in that realm, and talent wants money, and talent is scarce. And so, we don't have that type of money that's going to flow into our system to get our advertisements up. We've been fortunate with the opportunities that's been presented to us, and we're trying to make the most out of it. So cool feeling, and hard work is paying off. And I think, this is my third contract of the NWA, or fourth contract, give or take. So I'm riding it out. Hopefully, God willing, until the end of 2027, and gonna get my hand raised one day with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship above it. So
Wow.
that's the end goal. It's something that was my belt. Growing up, I'm a huge Jim Crockett Promotions fan. I love the NWA, especially when it comes from anywhere from 84 to 87 I love it. I've almost watched every single episode that existed. Just something I still fall in love with. This is my office space, but if you roam around my house, you'll see original posters. You'll see Magnum TA's trunks from back then. You'll see the Barbarians tights. You'll see Ric Flair's trunks. I have all the boys' gear, George South, all these guys. I have all the memorabilia within my house, my basement, and whatnot. So a big mark for the Crockett's, and big mark professional wrestling and still modern day. So anyhow, just a cool feeling, a really cool feeling, guys, that you work hard and you get rewarded.
Now, before we let you go to put your own plugs in, I have to tell you a story that you might like. So when I was in the NWA, at the time, there was the talent relations person that dealt with travel, and at that point in time, we were doing the I think it's called Airbnbs. Is that right?
Okay.
Okay. And they would do all these partnering up with people, which is very difficult for someone who doesn't know people in the business kind of thing like I do. And she said to me, I have a list of people that I'm going to give you. This is called my problem list. And she gives me a list, and she says, I need you to take care of them. Billy says, you'll be the guy that can do all this. And I'm like, what the fuck? Great. So to give you an example, well, you know what? That might be behind the curtain. I don't want to name all the names.
Oh, you can be vague.
I think you've named a few over the last. I think you've named a few, and I think we had Joe on Galley. I think he did a couple, not all of them, I'm sure.
Well,
but.
Joe was never mind. Joe was in my car riding with me. Anyway, your daddy was on that list, brother. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I had not one issue with him, and then everybody was floored. They're like, "How in the fuck are you dealing with him? He demands this, he demands that." I went, "Because you just tell him what he gets, tell him what you do, you make it feel special to him."
Sure.
And he's good with it. And he had one request. You know what his request was? I'm not finding a way from the airport. Y'all, someone needs to get me. And I went like this, no problem. And I went like this. They gave me a rental car. I'll go pick him up. Fuck it. It's that easy. No problem. He's like, I got a room with who? And I said, you don't have to room with anybody. I got you and Robert a room at the whatever hotel. Y'all aren't staying in the Airbnb. He said, well, everybody told me I was staying in an Airbnb with 5 or 6 fucking goddamn people. I ain't fucking doing that. I said, you're not doing that, brother. You're not doing that. You're going to stay in your own hotel room. He goes, well, Robert's leaving anyway, so I'll have my own damn room. And I was like, and you have a ride from the airport. You good? He's like, I'm great. I love you, baby Hebner. I said, okay. And I had no problem with him. I don't know what the issue was.
That's fantastic. I feel like he's even changed so much since then to now, whether just how easygoing, I often have to remind myself, like, he's this easygoing. I I gotta somehow get a little rambunctious and get a little demanding. Now listen, I have to say something before I have to get off here. I know my time is coming to an end. But I was told that Brian Hebner is the last man standing.
He
Now I don't
used
know.
to be.
I don't know any context behind this, and I'm gonna ask it live on the air. And maybe we have to be a little vague here and kind of keep some stuff incognito. But I need to know what this means when I hear last man standing and Brian Hebner in the same sentence. From a good brother, brother up in the office. You probably know who this is.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
I have a good conversation with him. And he said, Kerry, by the way, real quickly, when he calls me, this is today. Kerry, by the way, last man standing, Brian Hebner. Go Notre Dame. See you, bye. Hang up. I was like, wait.
All right. I'm going to start. Okay, Kerry, I got you. All right. I'll come clean. First of all, fuck Notre Dame. And only when we talk Notre Dame, only, because otherwise I don't mean this, but only when we talk Notre Dame, fuck Pat Kenny. And I'm going to say this. We used to have a van called the Minivan of Love that we used to travel in. And we would do our things, whatever they may be. A lot of drinking, 5-gallon buckets, if you know what I mean. We would have a hotel party when we got there with all the boys and whoever. No matter who it was the last man standing in that lobby. I might have been hobbling. I might have been grabbing a wall. But I was the only one standing every single night.
I respect it. That's great. That's a round of applause. That's awesome.
And I can tell you right now, the reason why they called me LMS is what they called me, LMS. Because they couldn't understand how I did it in this little frame body. And it was night after night after night. It wasn't just one night. It was every night.
That's fantastic.
And that's in two companies too. Keep that in mind, correct? That's TNA and NWA.
Wow.
Yes.
And I'm sure WWE.
No. Never there. No, you got to think about who I was working with then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, good point.
That's funny, man. Now, listen, I'll be the first one to admit I am not the last man standing. I'm usually a yay and see you guys. I'm one of those cats nowadays. I used to be a.
You're the FMS, first man sleeping.
I'm first man sleeping. I'm usually out. I have realized. Listen, I'll say this here. Hanging with the boys will get you in some trouble. And we have gotten in some good trouble before, and something I probably can't say on the air. When we've gotten to a couple situations, I'm like, God willing, I don't know how we didn't spend a night in the jail cell tonight, but we didn't. And I made it to a bedroom, or I made it to wherever I was sleeping. So I realized that I can't hang out with the boys so much anymore. Tight-knit situation, we'll all gather around on a Friday night or whatever with flying. We'll watch some football and have some small talk, but I'm aside from that, unless I'm looking for some trouble, I'm usually heading off to bed.
And now you go back to Pat Kenny. You tell him that why is Notre Dame not in the conference? Why are they different? These cheap bastards.
4 in the country.
Yeah, they'll still fuck it up.
I was.
And by the way, Matt Green, my dad couldn't hold a candle to me as far as being LMS. He was the first man down.
So yeah, but keep in mind, wasn't he in the Minivan of Love too?
My dad?
Yeah,
of course.
He was probably the first one with the beer cracked open, right?
He drank too many on the way to the next town.
Because
he couldn't get out of the car when we got to the next town.
Because it was you, your dad, D'Lo, and Pat, right?
It was Pat, D'Lo, my dad, Don West, Craig Jenkins, huh?
What a crew! I love.
Oh yeah, dude, it was the best.
On the wall in that van. That'd be awesome.
People ask me throughout your whole career that you've had for over 27 years, what was your best time ever? My time in TNA, for my first initial time in TNA, I rode in the Minivan of Love. I was never at home, not because I didn't want to be, because of schedule at that point in time.
Sure.
We were running house shows every weekend, TV before that, fly home for 3 days, go back again, kind of like the WWE schedule. And man, just to see these guys every day and get in that van was a blessing. And the smartness of D'Lo Brown and Pat Kenny battling back and forth. Al Snow would be an occasional agent as well. The car was crazy. I was so blessed to be in it, and wow,
That's
it
great.
was just wow.
Man, that's great. It's a big part to have good commodity on the road. So
Yep,
you had a good crew there. I love to hear
we
that.
did. So before we get you out of here, put your socials out there, man. Anything else you want to say? It's all about you right now. Me and RJ are gonna shut the fuck up.
Oh, well, boys and gentlemen, and thank you first and foremost for having me on the show. Listen, for those that are listening that don't know already, I'm on social media. I'm under Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Real Kerry Morton, REAL Kerry, KERRY, Morton, MORTON. Don't forget the T because that's a moron and that is not Kerry Morton. I will tell you that right now. I learned that the hard way. So anyhow, it's Kerry Morton. But find me on social media. Obviously, if you want to support a professional wrestler, aside from myself, go to my Pro Wrestling Tee store. I got cool T-shirts. I design a lot of those in-house by myself. So pretty neat there. And I get to use my degree and whatnot in graphic design and use some cool buddies and talented artists to put my stuff out there. Also, catch me on NWA Power every Saturday, 4 p.m. on Comet TV. We just signed some cool exclusive new deals that I can't mention right now because I might get in trouble, but some new cool news is on the horizon. Keep on driving up that mountain. So not ready to hit the peak just yet. JCW Lunacy every Thursday night, 8 p.m. This Saturday, if you're listening, that's going to be the 28th, if I'm not mistaken, or 29th, this Saturday. JCW Lunacy is going to be live at 8 p.m. in Saginaw, Michigan. So we're gonna have a live show. I'm coming in fired up, ready to roll, and gonna shove up some nasty words up Vince Russo's ass. So let's do it.
Wow.
Gonna be a good time. Gonna be a
That
great
boy.
time.
That boy.
That's right. Gonna be a great time. So thank you guys once more for having me on Refin It Up. And as you, Brian, know, and RJ, you guys already know that they just don't make them like this anymore.
So you have a degree? Is that what you said?
2. Yeah.
You're not a wrestler. See you later, buddy.
2 degrees, yeah.
No, I'm kidding, man. That's awesome, man.
Thank
Awesome,
you.
awesome.
Really, I tried. That was a big part of it. I wanted to break into the business. I can break into the business, but you've got to have a plan B. And I got a full ride scholarship on cheerleading. I was an All-American cheerleader, Division II national champion for Conference Carolina, King University. So cheerleaded all throughout college and got my education paid for. And I had 1 degree, and I said, hell, why don't I get just 2? So went on and got another one.
That's awesome, dude. Awesome.
I love it, man. I'm happy. You can take a lot of things away, but you can't take the education away.
That's right.
That's what it's all about.
Kerry,
guys.
You have my number, brother. If you need anything, ever want to chat, ever want to ask me anything, you just want to, whatever you want. You have my number. Don't lose it, buddy. I've got yours. It's stored in my phone. I want to thank you so very much for joining our show. And, brother, keep kicking ass, man. You're young as fuck, dude. You got a hell of a career.
Well, man, I appreciate it, and I'll take advantage of that number. I'll be messaging you in the near future. I got some questions to ask.
No doubt. I got you. And you tell your father that I love him, man.
Yes, sir. I sure will. RJ, my man. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Take care. I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely, guys. Take care.
Yes, sir.
And see you down the road.
We'll talk soon, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Boy,
great stuff,
right.
man. What a great dude.
That was absolutely phenomenal to have Kerry here. And like you said, Brian, man, young kid, 25 years old, and the sky's the limit for him.
Yep, I agree. And I went back and watched a lot of his work because I knew he was going to be on the show. And it wasn't just because I can't watch him every Saturday at 4 on Comet?
Saturday at 4 for NWA,
yeah. It's just that, sometimes you just can't watch everything. You know what I mean? But I went back and, man, there's things about him that are like his dad, but there's a lot of things that's not. And he's got his own way. It's just so awesome to watch. It really is. And I'm pulling for him, and he's just a great kid.
Yeah. And definitely. And then JCW as well, Juggalo Championship Wrestling. I believe that's over there on the YouTubes as well. Their shows. They're doing great stuff over there too. A little different, you got to go in with an open mind when you watch it, but it's great. I believe Mac Davis is part of it too. The guy that we had here with Teddy Long as well. He's part of that promotion as well. But guys, man, just absolutely phenomenal. We're going to do a little bit something different now. Normally we'll go up to Credera's Karaoke, but we will still go up there only on our audio version. If you're listening, or watching right now live on Twitter, not Twitter, on YouTube and Twitch, that is. You can hit the pause, head over to the audio version on Wednesday morning, listen to it. We're taking a blast from the past this week with Been a While by the very talented Mr. Jimmy Corderas on this week's Corderas Karaoke. Jimmy, you gotta love him, man. And once again, congratulations on your award here from the Colorful Alley Club. But Brian, man, how can people get a hold of you on the socials?
Well, first of all, congratulations, Jimmy. Well, I missed you this week, buddy. I think the whole crew will be back next week,
Sure.
which is fine. Daniel, if you want to take one more week off, that's okay. I'm kidding.
You're so much more relaxed. You don't have to worry about the
I've
doll.
no pressure at all, brother. I'm good to go. I didn't know that Daniel could take my blood pressure this high.
Yeah.
But no, I love Daniel. I'm just kidding. But anyway, congratulations to Jimmy and Daniel. I'm glad you're attempting to be a referee this week. And yes, you can catch me on Instagram and Twitter at Baby Hebner. And that's the only way you can catch me. And if you want to do that on the Instagram, you're going to have to wait for my approval. If you don't get approved, well, sorry.
Too bad. Well, if you're watching here on the YouTubes and Twitch, you can look right here on the scroll here. You can follow us on social medias if you would like. We'd love to have you interact with us at Refin It Up across social media, at Instagram as well as Twitter. Follow us across YouTube and Twitch right now. Give us a thumbs up that you like in all of our videos, as well as subscribe. Head over to prowrestlingtees.com/Refin It Up. We have our t-shirt over there as well. Make sure I know Kerry, not Kerry Morton, but Kerry that was on the show before. He's got his. You'll see that, I'm sure, soon coming on WWE TV. As well as checking out TNA Wrestling this Thursday is live in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. That's where Daniel is, as well as Huge Pop Radio with Donnie Silva and Jimmy Corderas. Check them out. I don't know who they got this week. You're going to have to subscribe and take it in for yourself. But without further ado, we appreciate everybody that has joined us here live in our studio audience. We have Matt Blackstock, as well as Matt Green. We had JD Hoop was in here for a little bit. We had just the usual suspects. Guys, we appreciate you tuning in this week to Refin It Up right here on YouTube and Twitch. Make sure you join us next week on Tuesday at 6 p.m. For Mr. Brian Hebner, I'm RJ. We'll see you next week right here on Refin It Up.
1, 2, 3.